So this week we saw the Liberal government announce their new first home buyer scheme. Firstly, I love how they've called it a scheme. But yeah, the Liberal government announced their first home buyer scheme, which very quickly the Labor government jumped on board and said that if they are voted in, they'll also match this scheme. So what is their scheme? In essence, at the moment, if you are buying property, in most parts of Australia, you'll need a 20% deposit to be able to buy. If you have less than a 20% deposit, you'll have to pay lender's mortgage insurance. Essentially what this does is covers the banks, but doesn't actually cover the person buying the property or taking out the loan. What the Liberal government have said that they will do is basically scrap LMI insurance for first home buyers, provided they've got a 5% deposit. So rather than needing the full 20% deposit, first home buyers will be able to buy property with as little as a 5% deposit, and the Liberal government, the government will essentially underwrite the difference between the 5% and the 20% deposit and insure that amount if that person was to default on the loan, or those buyers were to default on the loan. At a first glance and at a first look, I think this looked like a great policy. I was recently speaking to our branch manager at the ANZ that we work with, Tanya Alafraco in Smithfield. Needs some finance. She's great to speak to. But I was speaking to her, and her basically what she's seeing in the Cairns market is most buyers are able to meet the serviceability guidelines, but are really struggling to save that 20% deposit. So, for instance, if you're buying a $400,000 home, so the average sort of home in Cairns, you do need an $80,000 deposit, or you are paying LMI, so loan mortgage insurance. That insurance can be up to $10,000 or $15,000 depending on the price point and depending on the deposit you have. So this scheme is essentially saving first home buyers that $10,000 or $15,000 that they do need to pay in insurance. And like I say, from the outset, did look like a very promising policy. The downside for the policy is in the fine print. So essentially they've capped the amount of buyers that are eligible for these loans to 10,000. Now that might sound a lot at first, but unfortunately last year in 2018 it's reported that there was around 100,000 first home buyers across Australia. So essentially they're only making this loan insurance, this policy available for around 10% of first home buyers. How they will do this, if they'll do this in a first in best dress way, or if they will do it on some sort of eligibility criteria, I'm not sure. They haven't announced, it hasn't been reported on how they will actually distribute this policy. So that was a little bit disappointing when you look into the fine print, that only essentially about 10% of first home buyers will actually be eligible or actually be able to claim this grant per se. But overall, I think it is a good policy. It's not going to cost the government a lot in the fact that they're essentially only creating insurance to a degree for that 15% deposit, and it will allow first home buyers to enter the market more quickly. And like I say, in Cairns, I think the serviceability for most properties essentially, it's cheaper to own than it is to rent in Cairns at the moment. So I think the policy is good for a climate like Cairns, where buyers, really the only hurdle buyers have at the moment is saving up that deposit. So if they can get into the market quicker, I think the serviceability is there for most properties in Cairns, for most buyers. So overall, a strong policy, I think, will really help the first home buyers get into the market, and will, provided they provide enough people access to this, it will help the property market in Cairns overall. And coming into January 2020, when they're talking about introducing it, I think we will start to see strong demand from first home buyers, provided they can actually apply and qualify for this scheme. As always, guys, if you are looking at buying or selling, it's important that you get the best advice. I'm only ever a phone call away and would love to help you with any buying or selling questions.